Hi, I'm Lindsay, and this is my Overland Explorer X10 flatbed camper. I've been traveling solo for 4.5 years and in this rig for 2 years. So come on inside while I show you around. So as you walk into the left, this is my kitchen area. This is actually a diesel cooktop, and it doubles as a furnace when the lid is down. It actually comes from the marine world, very common on a lot of boats. I use this microwave more than I'd like to admit, but mostly because I do have a large power bank. We'll get to that in a little bit. And then up here is just like some storage for my dry goods and whatnot. And over here, I have a bunch of storage for dishes. And then I have a sink with 42 gallons of fresh water. We'll get to that as well. And a little extra counter space cutting board, a little electric kettle I use quite often for coffee and tea. And then I have a bunch of these tiny drawers. They're actually really narrow. I had to take a standard size silverware holder and cut it. Everything's just a little tiny in here. I have the top ones for silverware. This is like a equivalent of my bathroom drawer with toothbrushes, just because I don't have a sink in my bathroom. And then the rest is basically like toolboxes and other utensils. I have my garbage under here and just some other cleaning supplies. This is just a false panel, so you can see the plumbing of the sink underneath it. But I'm a big fan of the exterior of this as well. It's really easy to wipe down and clean. It's lightweight. There's not a lot of wood in the camper. I don't have to worry about much moisture management as well. This is my little dinette area. This actually folds down into a twin size bed. When I bought the camper, it actually had a bunk bed. You can still kind of see the holes from where the hydronic lift was. I don't have any children. I'm traveling by myself, so I don't have a need for a bunk bed. So we took that out, added some extra storage up here. I sanded and stained these myself. This is a quick, easy, cheap way to put some storage up here, kind of keep it open and more arid. This is a really cool piece of technology. Cruising Comfort USA, it's a 12-volt air conditioner. It's 8,000 BTUs. It pulls very minimal amps. I used to know the number. Can't think of it off the top of my head. But basically, when I'm running this AC in the sunlight, I have almost 1,000 watts of solar on the roof, and I'm about net neutral during the day. And then I have a huge battery bank that we'll get to again, and I can toggle it on and off throughout the night, running it off my battery bank, which is great for being in areas in the summer with the heat. This really keeps the camper pretty cool. A nice convenient map of the US. I actually reference this more than you would think. And this fun picture is actually called Girl Gone Skiing, which is funny because I'm Girl Gone Glamping and I love skiing, so I thought that was appropriate. Underneath here is my gray tank, and underneath this area is my diesel furnace, my shower pump. I added this larger window as well, again to make it more arid and bright in here. And then this table, actually my dad manufactured a piece to extend it up. I work full-time from the road, so I'm able to have a standing desk, which is great. So back in 2016, I had been living in New York City and Chicago for about 5 or 6 years. And I just got sick of every weekend was just going out drinking. Where's the next club? What's the next best brunch spot? And I just wasn't happy. I didn't know where I wanted to live. It was over the city life. And I was visiting a friend in Austin, Texas. And if you've ever been to Austin, there are Airstreams everywhere. And I just started thinking, like, can I live in one of those? Maybe I can live everywhere. And I made a 6-month plan, and then 3 weeks later, I bought an Airstream and threw that plan out the window. It was a pretty steep learning curve. I had no clue about 12 volt versus 110 horsepower. I had no clue about anything, hitches, receivers, towing. It was a steep learning curve. I hadn't had a vehicle, like I said, in 6 years. So I bought a truck to go with my Airstream, and then I actually stayed with my parents for about a month and just practiced everything, practiced towing, backing up, learned everything, sold probably 60–70% of my belongings, and moved into my Airstream. So this is my fridge setup here. It's a decent sized fridge. It's got a small little freezer packed full of stuff. It's all 12-volt run, so it again uses minimal energy. And a nice little latch here that's a heavy duty, keep it closed while driving. Up here is like the motherboard of all the control panel switches. It took me a while to actually learn all of these, but now that I know it, it's second nature. I have a 2,000 watt inverter. Pretty simple, you just turn it on there. That takes my 12 volt battery power, converts it to house power so I can use my microwave, I can blow dry my hair. Basically anything you can do with a house, I have a big enough battery bank to run that off of. And if you know anything about electrical wiring, they did a really neat job wiring this all up and tying everything off, labeling everything. I also have the control panel in there for Van Tech Life's on-demand hot water supply and an altitude sensor for my S-bar, furnace, bunch of gadgets up there. Over here's where my little closet area is. Little makeup drawer, about a 2-foot wide closet. It's all I really need. But it's compact and it's spacious enough for me when I'm getting ready. It's not a big deal. And then a little bit more storage up here. Again, that's where I have my blow dryer, flat iron. I do not pretend to be roughing it at all. I'm very much glamping. And I wanted to set this camper up to simulate a house as close as possible to set myself up for long-term success. So I really don't feel like I'm sacrificing that much when it comes to those type of things. Lots of shoes stored up there as well. This is my water tank. Like I said, it's 42 gallons of fresh water. It's internal. I do a lot of skiing in the winter. I do a lot of winter camping in sub-zero temperatures. This way, everything's protected from freezing. All the plumbing is that PEX stuff, so it does expand if I was to somehow have a reason that it gets frozen. Nice and simple there. And then in this cabinet, I have 4 Lion Energy 100 amp hour batteries, as well as my Victron 2,000 watt inverter and my solar charger as well. So everything's tucked away in there. And this is like one of the big advantages of having the flatbed camper is all that space that you would normally lose with a sliding camper where the wheel hubs are in the bed of the truck, you gain all that space. So this allows this to be a true 4-season rig with the tanks being internal and still have a closet and other space as well. Welcome to my bathroom. So one thing that for me was a necessity was having a shower and a toilet. I guess that's 2 things. A lot of people do this lifestyle without it, and that's great. But again, I don't pretend to be roughing it. I'm very much glamping. So in my shower, I have removable shower head, which is great. And this toggles the water on and off to help me save water while I'm showering or conserve water. I have a 5-gallon cassette toilet, which I don't mind it at all. Some people don't love it, but I empty it every 4 to 5 days. I don't have to deal with many chemicals for it. I don't have to find specific sewer hookups. I can just dump it in a porta potty, which is great. My mom actually sewed these bags up for me for storage. Keep extra toilet paper, Q-tips, toiletries up there. I pull this little curtain when I do shower to keep this part dry. And then what's really nice is I just have this little easy accordion folding door. So again, lightweight, not a lot of hardware, trying to keep everything minimalistic and light overall with the build. And then I'm a big fan of this teak wooden shower floor, gives it a little bit of character. And again, all this fiberglass stuff, super easy to clean, mold resistant. I just wipe it down after my shower. And then I have this nice little storage shampoo, conditioner, shower gel caddy up here. And you can see I'm standing about 4 inches up off the floor. I'm 5'10" and I still have quite a bit of headroom in here, which is great because I do get a little claustrophobic, not in my camper, but just in general. So this is like nice and spacious for me. This is my bedroom. This is just a couple inches shorter than a queen size bed. And I love the height clearance in here as well. I can sit up here comfortably. Sometimes I work early mornings up here, can read books up here and not feel claustrophobic and cramped. So I really like, this is like one of my favorite parts about this model of the camper. I added this big window up front right here. Again, more air and more sunlight. I love that I have a window on every wall of the camper. Being a female traveling by myself, if I hear a weird noise at night, I can see out every side, everywhere, every direction, and make sure everything's good to go. These 2 little windows here do provide a nice cross breeze. And then a buddy of mine this summer helped me redo and re-insulate this wood paneling here to make it a little bit more cozy. My dad fabricated this shelf here, which is great. I found these bins on Amazon, which are such an odd shape. I think they're supposed to be used this way, but it fits perfect. Otherwise, it's just dead space up there in the nose of it. And in here, more storage for clothes. I have too many clothes. And I also have a custom-made memory foam mattress to fit this size, which is very comfy, and I wanted it to be only like 3.5, 4 inches thick, again, to save space with the head clearance. I also have this skylight up here, which can be used as an emergency escape as well, which it just gives me peace of mind if there was ever a fire or anything happening and I couldn't get out the one door of the camper. I like having this. I can climb out on the roof, I can slide down the front window onto the hood of the truck if I need to, and I won't have any issues with there. I keep a little clicker for an alarm system for my truck right here next to my head when I'm sleeping in case I do hear anything. And if anybody's trying to break in or tamper with the rig, I can just set off the alarm, lights, horns, everything starts going off in the truck. Just a little extra safety precaution. I'm not really the best at interior design decorating, but my friend Christy is, and she kind of helped me. Little things like having a striped pattern go this way, give the illusion of everything being a little bit bigger, little offset color scheme. She was really, really helpful with that. Those are things that are not my strong suit. If something's broken, I can troubleshoot it and try to fix it, but when it comes to decorating, not so much. The bed in most campers or RVs also a lot of times used for storage. So when I'm driving, I'll throw my laptop, I'll throw bottles of wine up here just because they don't tend to fall off or move around when in transit. So right now it's nice and clean, but a lot of times you'll just see other things thrown up here. One thing that actually made it a little bit easier for me getting on the road is that I already had the working remote component. I've worked for myself for about 10 years. I started a logistics brokerage and I ship raw materials, import, export, full truckload, LTL shipping. I started my company on the East Coast, so the majority of my customers are on the East Coast and I keep East Coast hours. I really like that out here in the mountain time zone. I start at 6 and I'm done at 2 or 3. There's some days when work is slow and I can throw my laptop in my book bag and hit the slopes at like 12 or 1 o'clock out here and do the last hour of work remotely from a ski resort, which is fun. But I haven't found too many challenges with getting Wi-Fi or whatnot. I use a Verizon Jetpack hotspot and I'm on the phone a lot for work. So if I have cell signal, I have Wi-Fi. And then I just kind of map out the coverage zones and try to avoid camping in dead zones during the week when I need to be online for work. So my camper sits on a Ram 3500. I have a 6.4 Hemi engine. I get a lot of crap for it not being a diesel, but the 6.4 Hemi is a super reliable engine. I'm just about 13,600 pounds on the total weight, and I'm pretty adequate going up hills. It doesn't really struggle too much. I don't go too fast in this thing anyways, but I've been really happy with the Dodge overall. I redid the bumper, put on a Trail FX guard, and actually just used Plasti Dip to cover up all the chrome. I wasn't a big fan of the chrome that comes on these Rams. I still have some nice tow hook points up front, and then I added some fender flares as well, just to kind of make it look a little bit beefier all around. And I'm out west a lot, so if I do hit anything crazy, an elk, a deer, my radiator and everything has a little bit extra protection on there. So one thing I really like about the flatbed chassis is I get 4 additional storage bins as well. Also, I meant to mention the extended cab gives me a huge back seat for storage, a bunch of gear back there, which is great. So in these storage bins, I have a backup my buddy propane heater, just in case my diesel furnace goes out, towing kit with jumper cables and whatnot, hitch to go in my hitch receiver. A few times I've had to tow like a motorcycle or something behind me, that's helpful. The whole camper sits on this tray, which comes right from the manufacturer from Overland Explorer, and it has 4 super strong mounting points. There's normally 4 electronic camper jack legs on here. I took those off and left those in my parents' barn because they're just wind resistant and they add like another couple 100 pounds. But otherwise, you could just lower each leg and release the clamps and lift the camper up, drive the truck right out from underneath it, which is great. That was a huge component for me buying this rig, was that the camper comes off the chassis. It's so much better for resale in my opinion. This is fiberglass. Everything I've put into it is going to have it hold its value or even increase its value over time. A truck, like any other truck, is just going to depreciate. So that was like a huge selling point for me. When I bought the camper, it didn't have any steps. It had like your typical big heavy steps that takes a while to put in, pulled out. So my dad, being the welder that he is, designed and engineered this little flip step, which is super easy, lightweight, it's sturdy, And if I'm in and out of the camper at like a truck stop or have to run back there to use the bathroom or whatever, it's so easy to get in and out. It is a pretty big step up, but again, I'm tall, so I'm happy with it. It is a little bit challenging in ski boots though, I will say that. So the back of the truck has 2 storage compartments. This weatherproof box that came with it, where inside I have a high lift, some extra propane bottles for the backup furnace. And then this is actually a ski box that my dad also manufactured this, which is really helpful. I do a lot of skiing. This can actually hold 2 to 3 pairs of skis. Also my snow brush, which is important when you're out in winter. But it's waterproof, it's sealed, it's locked. My backup camera is actually drilled right into it so nobody can tamper with it or steal it. But this is like a huge lifesaver for me because I don't want to go any taller with storage on my roof. I'm already at like 11'2" on my clearance. So having this box in the back, super helpful. We also added this additional brake light strip because this box kind of came out and shadows a little bit of the brake lights. I want to be easily visible and seen on the road, so we didn't like skip any corners with that. Super easy, just plugs into your slot there for your for your trailer tow. Up here, I don't know if you can see it, up here is the compressor for the 12-volt air conditioner. We mounted that on the back, which is actually pretty simple then for any kind of like maintenance and whatnot. It's easier to access there than inside. And then this ladder folds down. I don't know if you can see that. And on the roof, I have 3 solar panels. They're Jenko solar panels, are 330 watts each. So just shy of 1,000 watts up there. And in the wintertime, I do have to climb up here daily, shovel it off to make sure I'm getting enough sunlight to power up my batteries. So out here is where my diesel tank is for my S-bar furnace. It's about a 3-gallon holding tank, which isn't much. In the dead of winter, I'm using almost a gallon a day. If I had a diesel truck, I could tap into that auxiliary line. But again, I have a gas truck, so maybe someday down the road that will change. This is the drain for my gray water. Super easy to access right there. And then more storage. I just keep my water hose in here. I really like the zero gravity hose. You don't have to deal with the hard plastic hoses in the wintertime, wrangling them to get them back into a small box. And then right here, super simple. It's where I fill up my water tank. If I'm at a campground or somewhere and have a city water inlet, I could put that there. And what's nice about my hot water system is that it is on-demand hot water. It heats glycol, which wraps around my hot water line. So you turn the faucet on at any point, within 5 seconds, you have hot water. If I'm connected to city water, like 10 people can take a shower in a row. As long as you have water coming, you can take hot showers, which is really nice. This is just super easy. 30 amp plug-in. I've actually never had to plug this camper in, almost 2 years on the road with it. My solar panels and my battery bank are just so robust that I haven't had a need to. Fingers crossed. This is where you can access the 5-gallon cassette toilet. It's really simple. I actually just emptied it earlier today, so it's empty right now. You pull it out just like a traveling suitcase. It has this little arm, you extend it. It has wheels. You flip this up, take the cap off and you dump it. There's a little button for airflow, makes it really easy. About 60 seconds down the drain, you're good to go. It does get a little heavy when it's full. It's probably close to 40 pounds. So every, like I said, 4 or 5 days, I dump it. And just more storage here. I have some extra rotor packs for diesel just because the diesel tank isn't that big. Those are just kind of for emergencies. If I'm out camping, skiing somewhere without a diesel supply, I have some backups. All right, so we're up here on my roof. I actually come up here more than you would think. You can bring friends up here, have a drink up here, have dinner up here. Gorgeous background. This is the top view of the emergency escape skylight. I had 2 other skylights that we had to insulate off just to get the maximum coverage for solar panels. I added these little grip stickers. Typically I try to keep my center of gravity a little bit lower when it's icy up here or when it's windy, but it's a great way just to chill out and take in all the views. At least once a week, somebody reaches out to me online and asks me, how can I do what you're doing? How can I get on the road? And what I always tell people is just to commit to it, just to do it. A lot of people, they're building out a van for 6 months, 8 months, a year, and I'm gonna do that someday, I'm gonna do that one day, I'm gonna do it when I retire. I say just do it now because you're not gonna regret it. And you don't need everything to be fully done and perfect to start it. I think a lot of people just, they set these hurdles up for themselves and they just keep pushing back that starting line. I say just do it. You're gonna figure it out as you go. And if you do it for 3 months, 6 months, a year, it's gonna change you, it's gonna shape you. I don't think you're gonna regret it. Even if you find out this lifestyle isn't for you, I think you try it and you're gonna come out better on the other side. I hope you've enjoyed seeing a little tour of my tiny home. I'm happy to answer any other questions you might have. You can find me on Instagram. I'm Girl Gone Glamping. If you ever need anything shipped commercially, imported, exported, you can contact me on there as well, and I'm happy to help you out with that through my logistics brokerage. I hope you guys enjoyed it.